Well, hello and good afternoon. Thanks very much for joining us at lunchtime here at Becker Logistics. It's 12:30 Central Standard Time here in the Chicagoland area. And we're going to go over a couple things here. First off, Happy New Year. And welcome each of you to live. This is Jim Becker Live. We're going to be on LinkedIn Live, Facebook Live, YouTube Live, and of course, Twitch. So we're going to be streaming from multiple platforms. So once again, this is a live show, so anything goes. So this is a really stressful for someone to really put themselves out there. But the one thing that I want to go over today is something dear and close to my heart, and that is our social promise. It is as follows. For the year of 2021, Becker Logistics will be implementing a new social promise in efforts to help the homeless. For every shipment that Becker Logistics ships, we'll be donating towards providing meals, shelter, and helping the homeless in certain communities. First, we're going to be starting out with the St. Charles, Illinois community. In there, we're going to be expanding that circle to Geneva and Batavia. So how I learned about this problem was through some additional basic background. And I want to go through that a little bit with you to let you know how we're going to make a difference. How we're going to make a difference is by every single shipment that Becker Logistics ships, we're going to be taking proceeds from that and really making an impact on the community. So with each shipment, we're going to be able to help a homeless person in one way or another. With that will come the food, the shelter, hotel rooms, especially in the cold. We've been helping out a lot. Our social promise at its core is providing a way for us each and every day to provide purpose to everyone on this team. We have offices throughout the United States and in Canada. And because suddenly the money on the screen or being talked about is more real. When we're dealing with these loads, it makes a difference. It's what's being used to help the local communities that we work and operate in. Now, I know it. Personally, for yourselves, we all tithe, we do things for the communities. And how I came across this whole situation was making a donation myself and really seeing the impact that made on the homeless community. And then I found out about St. Charles. It's not far from our office. I don't live there, but it's an area that I know that we could really help. And I said, what about a nice big, adding this to our whole social promise? And it really made an impact. It's something that I could really get behind, that our team could get behind. Just think about that. Every single load that we ship, we're impacting and helping one individual. Now, here at Becker Logistics, we move somewhere between 240 to 300 loads a day, sometimes more. Now, that's pretty big. That's pretty huge that we can really make an impact in that on. So each team member on the Becker Logistics team is responsible for our social promise as well. And will be able to contribute simply by performing their job day in and day out. It is through their success that we're going to be able to fulfill this promise to all. So I'm glad to give a quick thanks to everyone on the Becker Logistics team. You guys really rock. And I'm joining you in the forces to really push this forward. I'm accountable initially. I'll be handing it off to somebody else at Becker Logistics to really take on this social promise. And then we're going to kick it off really, really well throughout the whole year. I've got a great team, and while everyone on the team is responsible, ultimately, I will be accountable for this project. And I will be appointing that to someone here at the company to really take that on and really keep that moving forward. And how do we do that? And as we look at this, that's why the social promise is important to me and why I've been working so hard to get this up and running. It's a great cause and it's a great purpose. It has provided such a drive for me the last couple of weeks, beyond providing a why for us here at Becker Logistics. Our social promise is important because it has potential to make a huge impact on our local communities and spread the positivity throughout everyone that is listening. I mean, that is a real importance. It's so important to it, the impact that it will make. Now, as you're listening to this, somehow you're connected to our network promise. And the network promise is to give back to all of you on how we can help with the videos that I hand out, to the things that I post, to these live shows. We are trying to help you guys out and have some type of nudge to really help motivate, educate in some direction that you want to go into. The importance of giving back should never be overlooked. Life is all about how you can be better and better the lives of those around you. So don't try to focus on what you can get, but rather what you can give. This is what I've been focusing on for the past couple of weeks, and I've been on a journey of starting this whole project up, and it's been really fun and exciting. I've thought of things of this before in the past, and I just want to let you guys know that I'm really trying to make sure that I got the right slide. Once again, being live. There you go, my journey. I've been working on this project for some time now, and it started back, I've been thinking about this for probably 3 years. And myself, I've helped a homeless person and really helped that individual. Not only, it's so difficult out there, and I've got some videos coming out for you guys too that really brings this full force. But I had an employee that went homeless and couldn't find him. And when I really got a hold of him, I realized he didn't have an ID. He didn't have a driver's license. He didn't have a place to stay. He didn't have health care. He didn't have his birth certificate. And walking him through that whole process, I mean, that's humanitarianship at its best. Humanitarianship at its best. In humanity, we are all equal. We all are human beings created by God. And we look at people differently. If I have no hair, you have long, Goldilocks hair, short hair, piercings, tattoo. We all look at people differently, further from the skin color or the language you speak, or even your heritage, your religion. We have to look at everybody. And when I looked at this individual, I helped him get his own apartment, took care of the first security deposit, helped him identify looking at apartments. Like, that took a lot, and that was a long journey. Getting that person into rehab 2.5 times, really 3 times. But that took a lot, and it takes a lot from you, but it's the humanitarian thing to do. And since I've been dedicated to this, helping, and making an impact and doing whatever I can, I decided, let's take on a whole community, not just one individual. And that took place, I want to say, the conversations probably started in April, then started again in probably October when we made another donation, just my wife and I. And we were able to shelter 165 room nights for people and in a hotel. And I'm like, we could do better. Let's create a project around this. And so the project landed on my lap and said, this is perfect. And that's just a calling. And over the past week or so, I've talked to several people that go out every day and make an impact, whether it's providing rides for the homeless to go to their doctor's appointments, setting up programs, rides to go to their court cases because they were sleeping in the wrong place that they were supposed to be sleeping outdoors in the cold in 30-degree weather, or giving a listening ear. These people that are already in that world making impact. I have also tried to talk to several homeless people and displaced people and I learned their stories. What brought them into the situation that the struggles have been there for a while, and they've been faced trying to get out. For some of them, it's not all about one thing. And maybe it was one bad week, one bad crucible that knocked them down, or a really bad day to become homeless. And then once you pass that threshold, it becomes so much harder to get back on track. It is so easy to take a step back, but more forward can seem like an impossible task. Did you have a bad day this year? Yesterday? Was last year a bad year for you? I know I've had some. And I have a great community. I've got great friends. I've got great employees, my family, my immediate family that I can go to. I can say I have over 5 people that I can call at any point in time in any given state to say, hey, I'm in your state. Can I stay at your house? And they'd say yes. I also learn about the distinction in the levels of homelessness. How many people do the homeless have that they can call and say, I'm homeless and I need a place to stay? When I say I have over 5 in each state, do they have 1 in the world? Maybe that person gave up on them. Everything from being displaced, which is having a place to stay for the night, either a friend's house or a hotel, to those that are struggling with addictions and mental issues. It takes different types of people at different levels of care for each of these individuals. There's not a single one-size-fits-all solution. No. And that is what makes this issue so difficult. I mean, for some people, giving them $1 million wouldn't help them in the long run. And then there's others that only need a down payment on a place that they can call home, where they would be set, where they're not out left in the cold. I also heard countless other stories of trying to get IDs. I talked about this earlier. You know, when it comes to getting the IDs or how they got there in that homeless situation, it's very difficult. It's troublesome. And some of these people, you wouldn't even know they were homeless or displaced. I can't tell you how many friends of mine were either getting a couch on someone's house just to stay, to spend the night because something happened. Maybe they lost their job. They're getting a divorce. Their parents kicked them out. So to get these IDs, to find a job, to apply for a job, to have well, where do you live? Well, I don't know. Avoiding people and the police and everything else that they face. It's my goal to spread awareness on this issue and the facts, to make it so that the homeless no longer exist only in people's blind spots, where they can be ignored and forgotten. I hope that I could bring some dignity and humanity to the homeless, which brings us to the next slide. I also heard countless other stories of trying to just make it. I'm sorry. Am I on the right? Yeah, I am on the right one. So we have our social promise. That's the least I could do as an enterprise. This world, this society, this community has given me so much. And to be able to be a leader and exercise my leadership as my natural self-expression to help other people is huge. It's my journey. So we have our social promise that I could really step into, which I already talked about. And it's a great thing to push us all forward and motivate each one of us, touch, move them, and inspire them in some way that they weren't touched before. But where's the action? How are we making sure that we can actually help? Humanity for the Homeless is the actual proof or the product of it all. It is how we are going to put our plan and our promise into action. Humanity for the Homeless is a charitable organization that I'm setting up so that our social promise can expand beyond the walls of Becker Logistics. It will allow us to partner with other companies so that they too can make an impact in their communities. It's far more reaching than Jim Becker and his family's checking account, or what I could do for just that one homeless person that was working at Becker Logistics. The goal here is to build a network of people and corporations that are willing to take action to help solve homelessness. From just Becker Logistics alone, we plan to start off by being able to feed 250 to 300 people per day. So I cannot wait to see what happens once we partner with others. This feeding of people isn't just at the feeding of people, it's sheltering and being there, being cause in new possibilities that could be created for them that stem from this possibility of me speaking to you. Once everyone takes on the responsibility to do better in this world, imagine what that looks like. You know, Humanity for the Homeless is something that just opens up a world. You know, we hear the word humanity and it's just a word. It's something that Webster came up with, right? But it's so much more. It's that inside thinking of what we think of somebody else. Either what they're wearing, what their hair looks like, that they have glasses on, that he's bald, that he's tall, short, skinny, fat. I can remember when I went to the doctor and they took all these measurements and checked my blood. And they said, Mr. Becker, you're obese. I'm like, obese? I couldn't get it out of my mouth fast enough. And I got labeled. And I don't consider myself obese. And I definitely don't consider myself homeless. Expect more from me on moving forward as we talk about this more in this year. This is our social promise. And we are still getting to know everything and getting everything set up. But if you would like to hear more immediately, then you can send an email to humanityforthehomeless@beckerlogistics.com. That's humanity for the homeless, all one word, at beckerlogistics.com. I'd love to hear what you have to say. Who needs help? How can we help? And I'll put that on a list. It won't be unseen. It won't be unforgotten about. And we will get back to you. You've got my word on that. Once again, our social promise through 2021 is that every shipment, Becker Logistics will be donating towards providing meals and shelter for the homeless community, starting with St. Charles, Illinois, spreading out to Geneva and Batavia. It's that whole section right around the river out there. After work, my wife and I have gone out there for dinner. Such a nice community. And to identify that there was homeless people there, I was in shock. Through Humanity for the Homelessness, we hope to make an impact in countless other communities as well, and possibly the U.S., and imagine the world. And once again, if you would like more information, then send an email to humanityforthehomeless@beckerlogistics.com. Right now, if there's any questions or comments, Scott Hadley, good to see you, bud. I remember last time we were together was in Denver, Colorado, and now I know you're still there. You used to live in St. Charles. My gosh, that's great. Love the social promise, Jim. Thoroughly enjoyed my time in the St. Charles community, I know, for a few years. Now, if LinkedIn would work so I can view your live stream. Hey, listen, you can go on YouTube, you can go on Facebook, you can go on several of them. We're on several platforms, so check those out. Otherwise, you'll be able to see the recording. That's there for everybody. Thanks a lot, Scott. Good to see you, my friend. George, nice, right on. Thanks, I appreciate that. Jason, great to see you, my old friend. I've witnessed some of what you've done firsthand. Yes, you have with our employees. Yes, sir. You definitely know what it looks like inside. Keep up the good work. It is truly an inspiration. Thank you. It's through hearing your comments, your likes, your comments on what we post, your shares, sharing what we're up to, so that word gets out. I have so much love, and you guys have been great. And it's pretty interesting because with my network promise that we started 2 years ago, putting out videos just to give back what's been given to me so much on social media has been huge. And it was great traveling to conventions, 2 every month, and never being home. I realized I wasn't ever home. It was great being able to give back at those communities. I felt kind of shackled, and especially when COVID hit. And this is just another way. And I'm adding promise to it because it's a promise that I'm making. For the year of 2021, we're going to be making an impact with every single load we ship. Thank you very much, guys. Have a good one.